Wasn't called, so there's nothing to correct. It was carried on the ayes. Okay? Members, we move to the debate on clauses 17 to 19, which is part 2. So the question is that part 2 stand part. In McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I found this process fascinating. It's the first time I've had an opportunity since becoming a member of this House to follow a bill through its entire process. This is a very important piece of legislation. It's a very complex piece of legislation. And it takes a considerable amount of understanding, and some comment has been made in the House today on the fact that a number of people in the dairy industry took some considerable time to understand it. I think the dairy industry took a lot of time to understand it, and I think in the end they understood it pretty well. It's actually an exciting piece of legislation for the dairy industry, if there is such a thing, and will continue to develop Fonterra as a new generation cooperative. And I think it's very important that we note the fact that it is a new generation cooperative, and if we don't create these new generation cooperatives, so to speak, cooperatives always run their course. And so it's very important that Fonterra has the opportunity through this legislation to reinvent itself. I'm disappointed that, I guess can only be described, at the scaremongering of the member for Wellington Central. Wellington Central, I reinforce, a place where there are a lot of dairy farmers residing, obviously. I think that the fact that yes, I guess they do need the latte there. The fact that the government wants to float Fonterra was his view. I find that extremely disappointing, and this is clearly not the aim at all. Had he intended the Select Committee, he would have understood that his own members, and indeed the members of the government on that Select Committee, questioned this topic at length, and I think that we were all comfortable that we got to the right position with respect to Fonterra and how it might go forward. Mr. Chair, Fonterra has a very large parliament. Dairy farmers have spent years discussing the redemption issue, and I think after at least 3 of those, or the last 3 years, have come to a conclusion that is satisfactory for the industry and satisfactory for the company. Mr. Chairman, this cooperative and its predecessors have been attacked by experts in an effort to gain a piece of the action. I, for one, am pleased to see the co-op and the government, via the Dairy Industry Restructuring Act and its amendments, making the running here. They, through the initiative, have preempted what otherwise would have been manipulated, or may have otherwise been manipulated by others. Mr. Chair, we've heard the Greens on this topic throughout this debate, and they do not support this, and this is no surprise. They've yet to get their head around progress and now want to send the industry back to where it was pre-2001. This would, Mr. Chair, be good for the sheep industry, and we would get a little of our own back as we witness a swap back to the sheep industry. My own intelligence tells me that, contrary to the Greens' allegation, many of my small farming families, dairy farming families, support TAF. They support this restructuring of this the amendments to this Act, and the reason they had difficulty with this Act is that if you go back to 2001, it was an Act put through Parliament in order to establish a modern dairy industry. Many of our farmers had difficulty with that because it changed the structure and the nature of their cooperative. If we don't change the nature of this cooperative, the cooperative will certainly be, in my view, derailed in the future. So it's most important. The other reason small farmers have looked forward to the opportunity to support this, and I'm sure will vote resoundingly for it at the next opportunity, is it provides an opportunity for intergenerational transfer and for continuance of strong family-owned farming businesses. Mr. Chair, one of the factors that I find really important in the course of this is that we are taking the opportunity to change the legislation slightly to ensure that companies taking a piece of the 5% of the milk available to other companies, to ensure that they have to do it in a structure and a form that's understood. In other words, they can't set up subsidiary companies to take a share of that milk. This provision will be well supported by the dairy industry, Mr. Chairman, and I'm sure that it will give great, I guess, security to the dairy farmers that currently supply Fonterra. Mr. Chair, I'll be very brief now, and the last thing I want to say on this topic is that This industry was restructured in order to give Fonterra and the dairy industry an opportunity to grow and to diversify. It is designed to create efficiency around the activities of Fonterra. It's designed to create efficiencies around the activities of any other companies participating in the industry. Mr. Chair.
Well, look, I just want to acquaint the House with the contents of Part 2. And we've had very much some, just sit down for a minute, some general comment. And this is quite a technical section that deals with the repeals of bill, and it is coupled to the schedule, which members might also want to look at. But I don't intend to allow the debate to be an extension of the Part 1 debate. So, having said that, is any member seeking the call? Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
A point of order.
Can I just say that buzz is pathetic, and it is a little confusing actually at times. It's only I'm a little deaf, yeah. and I did just about miss that. So I'd just like to
yeah, we'll probably now have to wait till the dinner adjournment, and technicians will come running and fix it. But I do hope that the member wasn't inferring that I was pathetic when he talked about the buzzer.
No.
But be rest assured, if I press the buzzer and the member does not notice, I will let them know. Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I never think for a moment you don't have the ability to push it hard. It's just what comes out the end. I'm worried about. Mr.